Both major presidential campaigns closing out the week with events and fundraisers across the West. Voters coming out to show their support for the candidates.
He's an amazing guy. I love his politics. I love his beliefs. I love everything he stands for.
I wanted to come out here and represent Kamala and just show that there is another side to people that live in the area.
And good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. The candidates and their surrogates crisscrossing the West today. It has been a busy day for former President Trump, who made 2 stops in California already today, and he's not done yet. Trump is set to hold a rally soon in Las Vegas. Let's go live to Las Vegas tonight. You can see the crowd gathered inside the Expo World Market Center. No one there at the podium. But again, the former president expected to speak shortly, and Trump's campaign says he will be discussing his economic plan at this event tonight. Now, earlier today, also in Las Vegas, Democrats held a special event that was focused on gun violence. Former Arizona Congresswoman Gabby Giffords was on hand to speak. Giffords, of course, was shot back in 2011 while greeting constituents in Tucson. She supports Vice President Harris's call for reforms to gun laws.
We are at a crossroads. We let the shooting continue, or we can act. We can protect our families, our future. We can vote. We can be on the right side of history.
Vice President Harris supports implementing universal background checks, expanding red flag laws, and banning so-called assault weapons. Former President Trump got his day started off in the Southern California community of Rancho Palos Verdes. That's where he held a news conference making promises to California voters.
I'm going to give you safety. I'm going to give you a great border. And I'm going to give you more water than almost anybody has. And the farmers up north are going to be able to use 100% of their land, not 1% of their land.
After that, Trump headed up to Woodside in the San Francisco Bay Area, where he attended a private fundraiser today. KTVU's Mark Sayer joining us now live from that community where supporters and opponents of the former president made their voices heard. Mark?
Well, Alex, the message we heard today from Trump supporters is, despite the perception that California is a solidly blue state, they are here. There are many Trump supporters. They want to be seen and they want to be heard. At the intersection of Woodside Road and Whiskey Hill Road, supporters of former President Trump turned out in force. It had all the trappings of a political rally, complete with flags, hats, shirts, and food.
I want him to know that this state is red. There's a lot of us that are Trump supporters. We want him to feel like, that it's not true what they're saying. It's California or Northern California is just blue. We want him to feel welcome.
What do you hope President Trump takes away from seeing people in California supporting him?
I think just so he knows that he does have support here. I mean, in California, it's obviously a heavily Democratic state, right, and we just want to kind of show him the love.
While the former president's motorcade did not pass by this particular intersection, he did attend a fundraiser at the Woodside home of tech entrepreneur Tom Siebel. Siebel is a distant relative of Jennifer Siebel Newsom, the wife of California Governor Gavin Newsom. Some reports say the entry price ranges from $3,300 to up to $500,000 per couple. For supporters like Irma Polanco, she sees re-electing former President Trump as a bread and butter issue.
I love his beliefs. I love everything he stands for. I love it. I don't want to have to sit every day on my table and try to figure out what I'm going to do on a budget. I am a business owner, and it's been really hard. I have taken a hit. I have to worry about my gas. I have to worry about my bread. I can't even buy bread because it's $9 a loaf.
Among the Trump supporters, a small group also turned out to support Vice President Kamala Harris.
So I am from Woodside, and I wanted to come out here and represent Kamala and just show that there is another side to people that live in the area. And I am so excited for Kamala to become president.
And this is President Trump's second fundraiser here in the Bay Area in just the past 4 months. You may remember back in June, he was in San Francisco at the home of tech entrepreneur David Sachs. They raised about $12 million there. Our understanding is that President Trump left here in Woodside about an hour ago with the motorcade heading down Sand Hill Road on his way to that event in Las Vegas that you mentioned earlier. Alex, that's the story here in Woodside. I'm Mark Sayer reporting live. Back to you.
Yeah, certainly a very busy day for the former president. Mark, thank you for that. Vice President Kamala Harris rallied voters in the battleground state of Pennsylvania today. She addressed a crowd in Wilkes-Barre, that's in the northeast part of the state. During her speech, she touted her debate performance and slammed her opponents.
It was the same old show, the same tired playbook we've heard for years, with no plan on how he would address the needs of the American people. Well, folks, it's time to turn the page.
Harris's running mate, Governor Tim Walz, made campaign stops in 2 other battleground states today, Michigan and Wisconsin. Pope Francis says American Catholics must choose between the, quote, lesser evil in this year's presidential election. The pontiff was asked about the election during a flight to Rome today. He said both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris are candidates who, quote, are both against life, citing Trump's anti-immigrant stance and Harris's support of abortion. Francis also commented on the Israel-Hamas war and denounced the killing of children in Gaza. He claimed neither Israel nor Hamas are taking steps to reach a peaceful end to the war. A Colorado paramedic convicted in the death of Elijah McClain will not be spending any more time in prison. McClain is the 23-year-old black man who died after police put him in a neck hold and medics injected him with ketamine in 2019. A judge in Denver modified Peter Chuchnik's 5-year sentence to probation, citing unusual and extenuating circumstances. The paramedic was found guilty in December of negligent homicide and assault. He has served 70 days in prison. Boeing factory workers spent the day walking picket lines on the first day of a strike that has shut down production of the company's best-selling planes. The walkout is affecting many facilities across the Pacific Northwest. More than 30,000 workers voted to reject a contract offer that would have raised their pay 25% over the next 4 years. The union originally called for a 40% pay raise over 3 years and demanded that pensions be restored.
Owe us for the last 10 years with 1% pay raises every other year. They blackmailed us out of our pension plan.
I voted strike and I said no to the contract because, I mean, it's our future. If you're not going to pay us to, the price to build the best plane in the world, then what's the point of even doing anything here?
Boeing's new CEO suggested a strike could create very challenging circumstances for the company, which has lost more than $25 billion over the last 6 years. And people who live and work in communities where Boeing workers are on strike say they're already feeling the ripple effects of this labor dispute. Fox 13's Alejandra Guzman spoke with one small business owner who says it's costing her money.
Take a look around. This is usually a busy sub shop with the Boeing Renton plant just across the street. Businesses alike say revenue is down about 50% since the strike started. They're worried it'll jeopardize business if it continues on for weeks. The faint glow of the open sign in front of the sub shop stands resilient despite the quiet air. Inside seats unoccupied as a Boeing machinist, some regular patrons are absent from their daily routine, standing strong on the picket lines for better pay. It's local businesses like Carniceria Los Compadres 3 across the Renton manufacturing facility who are feeling the weight of the strike's impact.
We just thought it was just part of, everything that's going on with everything, with prices going up.
Maria, who co-owns the meat market, has noticed the slowdown during the morning commute and even less foot traffic during the lunch hour.
We used to get a lot of construction workers, or they would come in to get pops or, the essentials to eat.
Now the market feels emptier. The hum of the refrigerators is louder in the silence. The shelves are stocked but remain untouched. The downturn in business is personal for her and others who say their daily revenue is down about 50%.
A lot of loss. I think, it's like this is like part of our, what brings food to the table for us. So,
as the tension between the machinist and Boeing lingers, business owners are caught in the middle. Every sale is more than just a transaction. It's a lifeline. A small victory as Maria gets to open her business another day.
I would definitely want that to end.
Boeing's chief financial officer says they're listening to the machinist's feedback and they're working on an agreement that addresses their concerns. Local businesses hope it comes soon. In Renton, Alejandra Guzman, Fox 13 News.
Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, if you think you need to relocate to find a better job, you may not need to move far. Tonight, the 4 West Coast cities that are some of the hottest job markets in the country. Also, signs of progress for crews continuing to battle major wildfires all across the West. We'll explain why those firefighters are optimistic that more help is headed their way.
And in weather, here's our live camera up in Seattle. Lots of cloud cover. Current temperature is 62 degrees and more rain in their Saturday forecast. We'll have the whole West Coast update coming up after the break.
The U.S. Coast Guard says an international operation will keep $44.2 million worth of drugs off the streets. They're showing off the cocaine that was seized in the Pacific Ocean last week. They offloaded the drugs yesterday in San Diego. The narcotics weighed more than 3,000 pounds. Coast Guard crews say they got help from the Royal Canadian Navy to make this bust. They intercepted those drugs about 430 miles southwest of Acapulco, Mexico. They have not revealed any details of possible arrests that have been made in this case. A suspected fentanyl dealer from San Francisco has been arrested in connection with the death of a Denver man who died after taking the drug. Today, investigators announced they're charging Jamal Gamal with distribution of fentanyl resulting in death. They suspect he was selling the drugs online and mailing them to buyers. They believe one of those buyers was Colin Walker, who died after using fentanyl last year. Walker's mother spoke this morning, urging people to learn from the tragedy her family lives with every day.
I mean, they need to know about this fentanyl trafficking. I had no idea. I wish I could have warned Colin. I wish I could have warned my son. And anybody that has a son or daughter going to college, high school, they need to know that it just takes one pill. One pill will kill you. And I guess that's the main thing I want to say is to these kids is one pill kills.
And Gamal is set to appear in a Denver courtroom coming up on Monday. A conviction in this case could lead to a sentence similar to the sentences often seen in homicide cases. A scathing report is out and shedding more light on the failures by local officials in the days before last year's deadly Maui wildfire. The report was conducted for the Hawaii Attorney General's office by the Fire Safety Research Institute. It says the lack of planning hindered efforts to evacuate the historic town of Lahaina before it burned, killing 102 people. According to the review, 4 days before the fire, the National Weather Service gave fire managers an unprecedented advance warning about extreme winds. The report found there is no evidence that key agencies, including Hawaii's Emergency Management Department and the Maui Fire and Police Departments, developed plans for dealing with that severe wildfire risk. In Arizona, the Siphon Fire has now burned over 15,000 acres. It's burning in the remote area of the Superstition Mountains, which is east of Phoenix. Authorities in Pinal County say there's no containment on this fire tonight. Fox 10's Lauren Clark has the latest as crews are struggling to get the fire under control.
Rain is in the forecast this weekend, which is a huge relief for fire crews out here battling these flames. Now, State Route 88 is currently closed near this area, heading up to Canyon Lake and Tortilla Flat, right across the street from the Lost Dutchman State Park, as the flames continue to burn. From the lake to the mountaintops, fire crews attacked the Siphon Fire from the skies Friday. Road closed signs sprawled across State Route 88 as drivers like Susan heading to Lost Dutchman State Park were turned around.
We figured it was from the fire, yeah. We've been seeing it all around.
The fire burns through the Superstition Wilderness as crews face challenges containing the fire.
Accessibility is a big one. A lot of people hike up in the Superstitions. It's rough terrain up there, and making sure we can get firefighters in safely and then also have a plan to get them out if anything were to happen has been challenging.
It's also challenging for businesses like the Dolly Steamboat on Canyon Lake.
So last night we've seen the fires up on top of the mountain. You know, it's kind of ominous, you know, at nighttime, of course.
Jeff Grimm and his crew provide both daytime nature trips and dinner cruises.
What we do is bring people to Canyon Lake with hopefully great expectations of having a wonderful wildlife viewing of desert bighorn sheep and bald eagles, wonderful scenery.
Landscape he hopes will be saved from the flames, as his business was forced to cancel over 300 reservations Thursday to Saturday. He said it needed to be done for safety, but it still hurts the pocketbook.
It definitely affects you.
In the meantime, as planes gear up at Falcon Field to fight fires across the valley, he's hoping for crew safety, inviting visitors back once the flames are put out. The cause of this fire is still under investigation. Right now, I have been told that fire crews have been able to put up containment lines, but until the fire near those lines have completely cooled, they are still calling this fire 0% contained. Reporting here in Pinal County, Lauren Clark, Fox 10 News.
Cooler temperatures are helping firefighters in Southern California as they battle 3 large wildfires. The bridge fire still raging in the Angeles National Forest with 0 containment tonight. More than 30 homes have been destroyed by this fire and over 52,000 acres burned. About 30 miles east of there, the line fire has burned nearly 40,000 acres in San Bernardino County. But firefighters are now having trouble getting aircraft into that area as the fire moves toward Big Bear Valley. And then down south, the airport fire in Orange and Riverside counties has burned through several homes already and charred over 23,000 acres. Time-lapse video gives you a sense of just how much smoke people have been dealing with near Los Angeles this week. You see that giant plume rising in the background there with the downtown LA skyline in the foreground there. An incredible shot. Let's bring in KTVU meteorologist Mark Tamayo, who is tracking the weather conditions across the West and the conditions that are pushing a lot of that smoke around. Mark?
Yeah, that's right, Alex. Always a challenge to model or forecast where that smoke could be going. But here's one of the forecast models, as you can see, as we put this into motion, and clearly a lot of the action is focused, as you would expect, in Southern California, and that could be drifting into parts of Nevada as well as we do move into Saturday. So the forecast for the fires down in Southern California, we do have the low clouds and fog of the coastline down there, and this is the fire danger scale here. You can see some yellow showing up, so that includes maybe some moderate fire activity as we come in closer. We do not have any red flag fire warnings for tomorrow, but still a bit of a breeze kicking up. You can see the forecast temperatures in the 70s to possibly the 80s for tomorrow afternoon. So that's the bridge fire, the line fire, and the airport fire. Here's a satellite where you can't pick out the low clouds and fog up and down portions of the California coastline from the Bay Area down towards Los Angeles, and then some interesting weather up in the Pacific Northwest. There's a little frontal band here that will bring in some rainfall up in the Seattle, already happening for tonight. That will carry over into Saturday, even the possibility of a few isolated thunderstorms. This was Seattle today with lots of cloud cover out there, a 0.02 in terms of measurable rainfall over the past 24 hours. Temperature is 64 degrees. In the San Francisco Bay Area, this was San Francisco downtown with some clearing, but still some fog out toward the coast. Temperatures in the city in the lower 70s. And out in the Phoenix area, temperatures topping out 107 degrees. Tomorrow, a bit of some cooling, maybe just right around 100 degrees in the Saturday forecast. That's what we have right now in Phoenix, 100. Las Vegas is 92, and Portland, Oregon, 71. You get the idea. We have a front here because look at Seattle only in the upper 50s. Here's the plan for tomorrow. Showers in the Seattle forecast. Temperatures will be in the 60s. Once again, the possibility of a thunderstorm and rainfall potentially could be up to 1/4 inch. And then for San Francisco, some fog in the morning and a cooler forecast. It's warm to hot down towards Southern California and in the Phoenix area, 100 degrees out toward Phoenix, and then lots of sunshine out in the Denver area. In terms of the rainfall forecast, once again, the main action is up here for your Saturday. So here's the breakdown up and down the West Coast, up toward Olympia, 69, San Jose in the Bay Area, 84 degrees. And Scottsdale, 100. Over the next 3 days, we'll keep things unsettled for Seattle for tomorrow, and then a sun-cloud mix for Sunday and into Monday. For San Francisco, clouds in the morning, and then as you can see here in Phoenix, actually it's interesting, possibly below 100 degrees for Sunday and into Monday with maybe some shower and thunderstorm chances as well. Alex.
All right, a bit of a break for the heat there for folks in Phoenix. Mark, thank you. 2 people are believed to be dead, and another 2 have been hospitalized after an Idaho gas station exploded and caught fire. Officials say this happened at the Atkinson distribution station in Cardiff on Wednesday afternoon. The Clearwater County Sheriff's Office says they believe 2 people were inside the building and they are presumed dead. Another 2 people suffered burns and they were taken to a hospital burn center in Seattle. Officials have offered no other details on the victims in that fire. Nevada is set to become the 18th state to use Medicaid funds to increase access to abortion for lower-income women. This change is a result of a court ruling that became official this week. This all comes after the state declined to appeal a case that found denying coverage violated the equal rights protection adopted by the state's voters. Nevada officials have not said when the coverage will begin, but the judge said it should be no later than early November. Coming up tonight for us here on West Coast Wrap, job hunters here in the West have a bit of an edge. Tonight, we'll tell you about the hot job markets in this part of the country. 4 of the top 5 cities in the country for job hunters are right here in the West. According to researchers with the H&R payroll company ADP, people looking for work are finding the most success in these cities: Denver, Oklahoma City, Las Vegas, Seattle, and Portland. Fox's Kennedy Hayes spoke with recruiters in Denver to get their take on what makes these cities stand out.
HR and payroll company ADP ranks cities across the country. The rankings were based off 3 things that make a strong labor market: annual pay growth, new hire wages, and the hiring rate. Labeled in green are the other top 5 cities: Oklahoma City, Las Vegas, Seattle, and Portland. In red are cities ranked the lowest: Providence, Rhode Island, Tampa, Florida, Baltimore, Salt Lake City, and Cleveland. ADP says construction and manufacturing jobs are some of the biggest drivers of Denver's high rankings, partially due to major hiring efforts from companies like PepsiCo. The company is building its largest manufacturing facility in North America and doubling the size of its Denver workforce to 500.
So we've been here since the 1950s. PepsiCo has had a huge presence in the community, and we wanted to sustain that presence and make our footprint larger.
ADP's report says cities that have thriving industries tend to do better. Across all states, the fastest growing industries are healthcare, including nurse practitioners and physician assistants, and government jobs such as cybersecurity analysts. Economists say if your industry or career isn't growing or hiring, it could be too many people are staying put.
With companies hiring fewer workers, but also firing fewer workers than was normal before the pandemic, and people switching jobs less frequently. If you have a job you like, you have unprecedented job security. But if you don't have a job, or if you're stuck in a job you don't like, you have fewer prospects.
If moving or changing industries isn't an option for you, some good news. The Fed has signaled they will likely start cutting rates on September 18th, which could help accelerate hiring and the labor market. In Denver, Kennedy Hayes, Fox News.
And finally tonight, this was the last day of operations at the X headquarters in San Francisco. Elon Musk announced plans to leave the city back in July after California passed a new law aimed at protecting trans youth. X, which launched in the city in 2006 as Twitter, is now moving its headquarters to Austin, Texas. At least some employees at the San Francisco headquarters are going to be relocated to the company's other offices, which are in Silicon Valley, in San Jose, and Palo Alto. That does it for West Coast Wrap tonight. We appreciate you watching. As always, have a great night.